The other day, I saw the news that Garth Brooks is being sued in civil court by a woman who says he sexually assaulted her while she was working as his and his wife's makeup and hairstylist. I originally didn't have much of an opinion about this whole thing. I've never been a fan of his or pop country in general. So I had no idea how surprising this would be to people in the know. For instance, like I thought he had a positive reputation as a nice guy. But just to give you another example, you know, most people were really surprised that Bill Cosby was a serial rapist, but everyone in stand-up and in Hollywood seemed to know about his behavior by the time it became public. So Garth Brooks, he seems like an all shucks sort of doofus to me, but maybe people in the country music scene already thought he was a creep. Maybe there was something else out there about him. So I started looking through the social media responses to this, and one theme that kept popping up wasn't that he had a history of being a sex pest, but that he was, in fact, a serial killer. And so it's been a few days since I started this journey, and I now know so much more about Garth Brooks than I ever really wanted to know, and I'm going to share it with you. First, let me fill you in on this lawsuit. Brooks originally filed his own lawsuit first, he did it anonymously and requested anonymity for himself and a woman who he said was extorting and defaming him by lying about a sexual assault. Shortly after that, and before a judge could rule on that, the anonymous woman filed her own lawsuit naming Brooks and describing how she was originally employed for several years to do hair and makeup for his wife. And when she fell on hard times, Brooks hired her to do his hair and makeup. She described several instances in which he made her feel uncomfortable by discussing sexual topics or even just appearing fully naked in front of her. And then she claims that he violently raped her in a hotel suite in LA. After her lawsuit came out naming him publicly, Brooks amended his own lawsuit to name her, which her lawyers say is an act intended to intimidate her and expose her to public ridicule. You can certainly argue that he had that right, considering that he originally asked for everything to be done anonymously, and she's the one who published his name. But, you know, I've skimmed through some Garth Brooks message boards, and this woman is being completely dragged through hell. So in this video, I'm not going to name her. I don't want to contribute to that bullshit. So, you know, did he rape her? I do not know. Is she extorting him? No idea. Her complaint says that she has incriminating text messages and witnesses to some of his sexual behavior. So it makes zero sense for me to sit here and rush to judgment when a judge and jury will get to that in the future. So that's not what I'm going to talk about today. I would rather talk about the completely bonkers claim that Garth Brooks is a serial killer, which I saw people using to actually add weight to this rape accusation. Like, not sarcastically, literally with a straight face, saying things like, well, there have been rumors about him for a while now, about him being a serial killer. So yeah, let's talk about that. The idea that Garth Brooks is a serial killer apparently began on a podcast called Your Mom's House, where stand-up comedian Tom Segura chats with his wife, Christina P., who is also a stand-up comedian. Fun fact I learned while researching this video, Tom Segura is a different guy than Bert Kreischer. Who knew? But I found a way to tell the difference. It is impossible to find a photo of Bert Kreischer without his nipples showing. If it wears a shirta, it's a Tom Segura. There, I made a little mnemonic device for us. You're welcome. Anyway, back in 2018, Garth Brooks was gearing up to do a tour of stadiums, so he was posting videos to social media for PR. On Your Mom's House, Tom Segura and his wife discussed how weird he seems, and then said this about him.
In a stadium.
He's about to cry.
People the furthest away make them feel like they're front row.
Oh boy.
He's getting emotional there about putting on the show that'll change your life. It's weird, man. It is weird.
Yeah. Something's going on. Dr. Drew has to watch.
What's going on is he's thinking about all the bodies he's got stacked in fucking graves on his in his
You think
yard.
he's a killer?
100%. He's probably killed 200-300 people in his life.
It's a good cover.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And Segura's fans thought that this was peak comedy. This is the funniest thing ever, that Garth Brooks is secretly a serial killer with lots of bodies to hide. And so then whenever Brooks posted to social media, like this video on Instagram where he tours a venue and then stares down the camera in a weird way at the end, Segura would point out the weirdness and his fans would go flood the comments demanding to know where the bodies are. I want to pause here to point out that at this point, like at the start, everyone was clearly joking. Was it a good joke? I mean, obviously, I'm less than impressed with it. Like, yeah, it is it's a funny thought that a famous guy with a decades-long reputation of being really, really nice, at least to fans and colleagues, if not to the women he's apparently cheated on, whatever. Yeah, the fact that he's a serial killer, that's funny, but the joke gets less funny when you see what happened on that initial episode of the podcast before Segura made the serial killer joke.
Can I tell you what I figured out?
What?
I know why he's goddamn weird.
Why?
I'm being serious. I think he might be slightly autistic.
What?
Or Asperger. I'm serious. Now think about my fucking theory.
Yeah,
Okay.
I can buy into it.
Because A, he mimics a lot of what he sees as being normal human behavior, and that's probably why he's not reading well on social media. Because he's really not relatable. And all of his interviews are fucking weird and a little Aspergery, but he's really good at what he does. He's pretty meticulous, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go like a dash of Asperger's.
I like your theory.
I'm serious.
A dash, huh?
Just he's fun. He's highly. I'm not saying he's like full. Just a dash of Asperger. I'm gonna go.
I like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think she has a point there. A lot of the behaviors that are being mocked are also behaviors that are typically displayed by people with autism. And so if you think about it, it's kind of shitty to look at someone who acts in a way typical of people with autism and say those specific traits means that he's a serial killer. I mean, you don't even have to think about it. It's obviously kind of shitty. But okay, whatever. It's just a joke. It was a shit post. That was 6 years ago. As of right now, Brooks has never really directly responded, though I did find one guy who tried to ask him about it in a way that is actually way more awkward than anything Brooks has ever done.
Well, hi, Garth. Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
My name is Ethan. I'm a sophomore at the College of Journalism. I'm studying ad PR. And one thing that kind of pertains to me, I guess, is I deal with a lot of social media, and I'm a new fan of yours. So I went to check out some of your social media, and I don't know if this is something kind of new for me with your following. I checked some of your posts and saw some comments that were kind of interesting. I didn't know if they were references to different kind of songs or something. I don't know. Could you shed some light on that? I'm kind of iffy
I
on
might
it.
be a little unaware of what you're talking about when you say some posts that talk about songs. So you might have to be a little more specific for that for me, please, because I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of comments that just kind of seem, I guess, a little random. Like a lot of them are saying, like, watch for waspas, and I guess, like, are you following protocol and things like that? So I don't know, and there's a lot of them.
I don't know, man. You got a hell of a job cut out for you if you're trying to make sense of social media. I can tell you that.
Right.
So try to remember that what's on social media is the larger you get in a following, the more you're going to get whatever the first thing was of just people advertising there. You're also going to get people on there that are trying to disrupt the system. So with social media, my thing to that is just, it's a beautiful way to get a message out. But what social media does is it waters down a lot of stuff, and the voices that you're hearing probably are not the original voices. So it's a hard thing for us. So in social media, we do either a Team Garth or we do it straight from me, and ours is a verified check. And so, yeah, you can look on any artist site and they're going to have a lot of stuff that makes no sense. But try to remember, the larger the amount of followers, then the more that's kind of ad time for people who post that stuff there. So there's going to be some weird stuff anyway. I wish, and I would love for you to be the guy to do it. I wish there'd be a way where it could only be quality people on there that are truly fans and just truly want to talk among the family of other people that seem to like an artist's music.
Cool. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
But still, over time, the jokes spread and spread and spread. And at some point, it got so far beyond the originator that the humor kind of fell away. And now you get people posting things like this.
Have you heard the Garth Brooks conspiracy theory? That he's a murderer?
Oh, I have taste in men.
You gotta be deep on like conspiracy TikTok, and you know I am. And people comment his Instagram on Garth Brooks being like, "Where are the bodies?" Because people go missing from his shows, and they're like, Garth Brooks is murdering all these people.
Basically, Garth Brooks goes on these huge tours around America. Coincidentally, most of the cities and towns that he visits, there happens to be a murder in that city on the night that Garth Brooks plays there.
Someone compared his tour schedule throughout history with murders throughout history, and they found that there
murders that all follow the same...
Right, so like a serial killer.
Garth Brooks will never comment on it.
He hasn't addressed it in years.
That's bizarre. If somebody was saying Bryce Bloom's a murderer, I'd be like... I'm not, but that is funny.
Or I would be like, what the hell, dude?
Yeah, dude.
Like, where did this come from? But to ignore it, it's like, oh, you're a murderer.
How do you know this? Because
someone compared it. Someone was like, look, this is this tour schedule.
So now it's gone from an obvious shitpost to an actual conspiracy theory. And you can see how the story has escalated. Instead of he's weird, I bet he's killed people, now it's that. Plus, fans of his have gone missing at concerts, and unsolved murders have consistently happened in cities on dates where Garth Brooks tours, and they share the same serial killer's signature MO. I actually combed the internet looking for the supposed list of unsolved murders aligning with Brooks' tour dates because I absolutely believe that someone could come up with that. It's called confirmation bias, specifically seeking out information that confirms something that you have already decided is true, like Googling murders in a city that occur near dates Garth Brooks was there. It also means selectively interpreting all other information for the same reason, like deciding every weird thing he does in social media videos are proof that he's a murderer. That leads to illusory causation, the false belief that two events are related, a murder and a Garth Brooks concert, when they're not. They just happened at the same time. For instance, I went to Garth Brooks' website, which is a crime that should be investigated, by the way, and I picked a random past tour date. He performed in Buffalo, New York on Saturday, July 23rd, 2022. The night before the show, 2 men were shot by an unknown person less than 13 miles from the venue. See? It's easy. I could do more, and I was actually going to do more for fun, but when I found the first match of an actual murder and a tour date, it occurred to me that a real person was murdered, and it felt gross for me to joke about that, so I won't. But here's the thing. I can't find that anyone has actually even bothered to do that. It looks like someone just made that up and people spread it without even looking at the stupid correlation. While I didn't find anyone matching up Garth Brooks' tour dates with unsolved murders, I did find something even more interesting and, dare I say, even though it includes murder victims, it's actually kind of funny.
Since 2022, 12 men have gone missing at Lady Bird Lake. Coincidentally, comedian Tom Segura moved to Austin back in late 2021. Did the killer finally slip up and let one accidentally live? Why is it that Tom Segura is seen nearby so many crimes? Is it possible that Austin has a new serial killer on its hands? And it's Tom Segura?
I was in town to see Tom Segura, of all people.
Wait, hold on now.
Yeah.
The whole reason you were in Austin was to see Segura, and you go missing for 3 days and wake up a month later. I gotta tell
Swear to God.
I'm definitely telling him this. Tom, Christian went to see you in Austin, and after the show, was found 3 days later, and he woke up a month later, dude. And he's about to tell me his story right now, Tom.
That guy, Jalen Blacks on YouTube, now has several short videos in which he points out unsolved murder cases matching up with Tom Segura's tour dates and moves, alongside clips of Segura talking on podcasts about how much he has thought about murdering someone, how much he would enjoy that, how he would do it exactly. Like, he would not want to do it in a cold climate because too much evidence would be preserved, stuff like that. Oh, and also clips of Segura's wife, Christina P., saying the N-word a lot, speaking to the overall character of the family home, I guess. And then I found people on Reddit discussing those videos, and one of them actually did match up Segura's touring schedule with the victims found in Lady Bird Lake, and found that for each victim, he was between shows and presumably would have been at his home in Austin, where he lives on a lake, but apparently not Lady Bird Lake. Anyway, here's how committed this guy was to figuring out this correlation. The only murder that clashes with his location is the body found April 15th, 2023, because Tom was in Oslo, Norway during that time. However, the body was sighted days earlier, as reported here, and his family hadn't seen him since April 9th. It was normal to be out of contact, but that also leaves a large time window that allows for this to have happened before Tom left for his tour. Also, someone on Reddit pointed out that Segura's shitter handle is Tom Segura, aka Mr. Ladybug. A ladybug is the American term for what Brits call a ladybird. Look, I'm not saying that this conspiracy mongering is good, but it is a little better than the stuff targeting Garth Brooks. After all, we got an honest, really good example of confirmation bias. And also, in this case, it has that added flavor of irony about it that just makes it a little bit more satisfying. Hey everybody, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. If you loved the video, please subscribe. And if you think the world could use more videos like this and you happen to have a few bucks laying around, head to patreon.com/Rebecca and join an awesome community of nerds like the people whose names you see on the screen right now. Thanks.